The Arizona Diamondbacks are the fastest team to win the World Series after their expansion in 1997. They beat the New York Yankees in the 2001 World Series. They are also the fastest team in all North American sports to reach the playoffs in their second season of existence. Let us look into the history of the Diamondbacks and see how they built that World Series winning team and what happened in the subsequent years. First, we have to go back to 1992. The Marlins and the Rockies were added as the next two teams in MLB. The Marlins going to the NL East. The Marlins went to the NL East, and the Rockies went to the NL West. The Rockies made the playoffs in 1995, mostly with the team they got in the expansion draft. Names like closer Darren Holmes, Eric Young, Joe Girardi, and Vinny Castillo. They still had key pieces like Dante Bichette, Andres Galarraga, and Larry Walker as the driving force of the offense in Coors Field. The Florida Marlins also did not do well out of the gate, finishing 6th or 7th in the NL East. The Pirates at that time were still in the NL East. That's why there's 7 teams. They gradually got better each of the following years, finishing last in 1994, 4th in 1995, 3rd in 1996, and in 1997, they finished 2nd and won the World Series against the Cleveland Indians. By the end of 1997, the Marlins just won a World Series, and the Rockies have the talent to make the playoffs for years to come. Major League Baseball deemed the 1992 expansion a rousing success, and in 1994, they voted on another expansion draft in 1997. MLB decided to pick out Phoenix and Tampa Bay as the 29th and 30th teams to join the league. The expansion cost for both Arizona and Tampa Bay was $130 million. That would be equivalent to $205,928,688.52 in today's money. The expansion draft was held after the 1997 season. Both teams drafted 35 players in 4 rounds. There were 20 picks in the first round, second round, and third round, and 10 picks in the final round. The best player the Diamondbacks drafted was Jeff Suppan, but he did not stay in Arizona for long. The players that were drafted by Arizona to be on the World Series winning team was pitcher Brian Anderson, outfielder David DeLucci, pitcher Damian Miller, and pitcher Russ Springer. Anderson was their first pick, 2nd overall. And in 1998, the Diamondbacks' first season saw them place last with a record of 65-97. They played their home games at Ball One Park, now known as Chase Field. In 1999, after finishing last place, the Diamondbacks wanted to get competitive and get there quickly. In the 1998-1999 offseason, the Diamondbacks made key moves by adding Steve Finley, Dan Carlson, and Randy Johnson. Still in the offseason, the Diamondbacks signed closer Byung-Hyun Kim as a free agent. The Diamondbacks made a trade for Luis Gonzalez and gave Kareem Garcia to the Detroit Tigers. The additions of Finley, Johnson, Kim, and Gonzalez made the Diamondbacks a contending team. The Diamondbacks finished 162 and finished first in the NL West. In the NLDS, the Diamondbacks lost to the New York Mets in 4 games. Randy Johnson led the league with 364 strikeouts and 2nd in ERA with a 2.48 ERA and won the NL Cy Young Award. Tony Womack led the league in stolen bases with 72 that year. In 2000, after finishing first but in early exit in the playoffs, they wanted to make it further in the playoffs. During the 2000 season, they made a trade with the Phillies to get Curt Schilling. The D-backs traded Omar Dahl, Nelson Figueroa, Travis Lee, and Vicente Padilla for Curt Schilling. The D-backs finished 85-77 and finished 3rd in the NL West but missed the playoffs. In the 2000-2001 offseason, the Diamondbacks signed first baseman Mark Grace, outfielder Reggie Sanders, pitcher Willie Banks, Armando Reynosa, pitcher Michael Moeller, and outfielder Midre Cummings. They have the talent to make the playoffs, but it just has not clicked on all cylinders yet. They still have Schilling, Johnson, Finley, Gonzalez, and Womack. The Diamondbacks finished with a record of 92-70 in first place in the NL West. Arizona made the playoffs and had to face the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLDS. The D-backs beat the Cardinals 3-2 to move on to the NLCS for the first time in their franchise. And in the NLCS, they had to play against the Atlanta Braves. The D-backs took that series very easily, beating the Braves 4-1 to move on to their first World Series. Craig Counsell was the NLCS MVP. In the World Series, they had to play against the New York Yankees, who beat the Oakland A's in 5 games, and the Mariners also in 5 games. Curt Schilling led the D-backs to a win in Game 1 by a score of 9-1. Randy Johnson pitched a shutout to give the Diamondbacks a 2-0 lead in the series. The score was 4-0 in Game 2. In New York, the Yankees won Game 3 with Roger Clemens pitching and Mariano with the save. 2-1 was the score. Game 4 was the best game in the series so far. Derek Jeter gained the moniker Mr. November by hitting a walk-off homer off Kim to win the game 4-3. Yankees took all of their home games by winning Game 5 3-2. Back in Arizona, the Diamondbacks beat the crap out of the Yankees 15-2 in Game 6 to tie the series 3-3. Best thing in all of sports is Game 7 of the World Series. It was a 2-2 in the bottom of the ninth with 1 out. Luis Gonzalez hit a bloop single off of Mariano Rivera, which I believe was a cutter inside, to give the D-backs their first World Series win. The score was 3-2. In the 2002 season, they pretty much had the same team, and they produced, finishing first in their division with a 98-64 record. This time, the D-backs got swept by the Cardinals in 3 games. They got swept. The 2003 season saw them slide to third place by going 84-78. In 2004, they traded away older players. They traded away Steve Finley to the Dodgers for Coyle Hill, Bill Murphy, and Roger Abercrombie. The D-backs finished last with a record of 51-111 in 2004. This was the year they blew it all up. Most of the veterans that helped win the championship in 2001 were gone by the beginning of the 2005 season. Randy Johnson was traded to the Yankees. They finished second with a record of 77-85 in 2005. 2006, they finished fourth with a record of 76-86. 2007, Randy Johnson returned to the team in a new, young, revitalized core. The Diamondbacks built. In 2006, they finished. 2007, they finished 90-72 and finished first. Arizona swept the Cubbies in the NLDS, but got swept in the NLCS by the Rockies, and that was in 2007. During this decade, from 2008 to 2018, the best word to describe the D-backs is inconsistency. They had the talent with players like Justin Upton, Stephen Drew, Orlando Hudson, and Chris Young. They also had young guns like Dan Heron, Brandon Webb, and old reliable back in Randy Johnson. You can never gauge how the Diamondbacks will do from year to year. In 2008, they placed second. In 2009 and 10, they finished last. 2011, they finished first. The Diamondbacks during this time, especially from 2012 to 2018, they had good to very good talent, but were very inconsistent, with the organization trading away players later in the 2010s, like Stephen Drew, Didi Gregorius, and Max Scherzer. They also traded their franchise player Paul Goldschmidt in the offseason of 2018. The Diamondbacks were a really good team after their second year of expansion. Smart moves from management built them a championship team in 2001. But after that was over, their play became very erratic over the next 16 years. They would have a horrible year, but the next year, with almost the same exact team, they would be first or second in the division. They would never make a final playoffs after 2001, but they would make the playoffs. It's very hard, almost impossible to judge where this team will land. But now they are in a rebuilding stage with young pieces like Ketel Marte, David Peralta, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Carson Kelly. This team could be above average or average, just too bad they have to play in the NL West with the Dodgers. I appreciate you guys sticking around for the video. This is a video that I plan on doing a series in, where I chronicle all of the teams' histories in MLB, and I plan on doing more. I hope I can do more. It's just trying to figure out how to work everything around. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.